Pitfall for the Atari 2600, released in 1982, is one of the most iconic titles in the golden age of video gaming. Designed by David Crane for Activision, it became an instant classic and set a high standard for platformers to come. Pitfall is often hailed as one of the first true platformers, and its gameplay exemplifies a blend of adventure, action, and precision timing, all within the constraints of the Atari 2600's technology. The player controls Pitfall Harry, an adventurer out to collect hidden treasures scattered throughout a jungle landscape. The game's goal is simple yet challenging: collect as many treasure chests as possible, while avoiding a variety of dangers, all while trying to achieve the highest possible score before running out of lives. The game is structured across a series of interconnected screens that form a loop once completed. You can view each screen as its own mini-level, but the challenge lies in transitioning smoothly from one to the next, while facing more and more dangers as you progress. You start in a jungle setting with a fixed number of lives, and must work your way through various environments filled with obstacles. These environments are rich with dangerous pits, rivers, crocodiles, snakes, and even patches of quicksand. As you progress, you need to collect all the treasures, 32 in total, which are scattered across the landscape, which range from gold bars to silver coins, all while avoiding the deadly traps. The game has no formal levels or stages with endings. Instead, it operates on a loop where, once you collect all the treasure on a screen, you transition to the next area. This cycle continues until you either run out of time or lose all of your lives. The simplicity of the controls is what made it so accessible yet challenging. Players can move Pitfall Harry left or right with the joystick, jump with a button press, and use the same button to swing across vines. The movement is fluid, and mastering the jumping and swinging mechanics is key to success. For its time, Pitfall had some impressive graphics, while the Atari 2600's hardware limitations meant that it couldn't deliver highly detailed visuals. The game's use of color and clever design made it stand out. The jungle environment is recognizable with its trees, rivers, and caves, and Harry's animations, like jumping and vine swinging, are surprisingly smooth for the system. Sound design on the Atari 2600 was minimal, but Pitfall did a fantastic job with its limited capabilities. The occasional beeps and chiptune sounds are used effectively to add tension, especially when you're near a hazard or collecting treasures. The sound effects, while simple, give a satisfying response to every successful jump or narrow escape. Another unique aspect of Pitfall is that there isn't really an end to the game. The challenge is to continue as long as possible, collecting treasures and improving your score. The absence of a traditional endgame or boss fight means that the game's design relies heavily on replayability and personal achievement. Pitfall holds a special place in video game history as one of the first and most influential platformers ever made. It wasn't just a hit when it came out, it has had a lasting impact on the gaming world. As one of the first platformers to ever be created, it paved the way for countless other adventure games. The character of Pitfall Harry even saw a revival in later years with sequels on other systems, though nothing quite matches the original's charm. Before Pitfall, most video games were either simple maze-like shooters or text-based adventures. Platformers, as we know them today, didn't truly exist yet. Pitfall changed that by introducing a dynamic, side-scrolling, action-packed environment where jumping, timing, and skillful navigation were essential. This was revolutionary at the time. The game's structure of moving across varied screens with obstacles, hazards, and treasures became a blueprint for later platformers. The essential gameplay elements, running, jumping, and avoiding enemies, became the cornerstone of what would evolve into the platformer genre. Titles like Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong, and even modern-day games like Rayman owe much of their core gameplay design to Pitfall's pioneering mechanics. Pitfall also introduced the world to Pitfall Harry, one of the first real adventurer heroes in video games. While video games had seen characters like space pilots and warriors, Harry brought the archetype of an explorer facing dangers for treasure. The design of Harry and the environments he navigates, jungles, rivers, pits, and caves, also set a precedent for future adventurer characters in games. The character's iconic status extended beyond the original game. Pitfall Harry would go on to appear in several sequels and remakes, including Pitfall 2, Lost Caverns in 1983, and Pitfall, the Mayan adventure for the Sega Genesis in 1994. The character has remained synonymous with the idea of adventure and exploration in gaming. While not the first game to include items to collect, Pitfall refined the concept of collectathon gameplay by incorporating it into a platforming environment. The goal of collecting treasure chests while avoiding obstacles became a staple of many games that followed. This idea of collecting items as a way to increase score or unlock new levels became an essential component of many later platformers and adventure games. It's a concept that has been adapted and seen in games like Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario 64, and Crash Bandicoot. Pitfall is a game that's as fun today as it was in 1982. With tight controls, challenging gameplay, and a sense of adventure, it remains a defining moment in the history of video games. Even with modern advancements, Pitfall still stands as a reminder of how far video games have come, and how, even with limited technology, great design can create something timeless. Whether you're a retro gaming enthusiast or someone just discovering the Atari 2600, Pitfall is a must-play.